Masks are part of the inner contract, nerve conjunctions caught up to the inside. Expressions are supposed to follow the protocols of the inner structure. When the wind blows, the swarm of interpretations scattered in a single blink of an eye begin to calculate orderless freedom. The crowd's gaze fails to gauge how much heresy lurks in the slightest bounce of the corners of the mouth or the convergence of the brows. Indoors, emotions are organized as tranquil equations. Joy and anger are understood as arithmetic numbers, placed in their proper places. Like a cathedral built on equilibrium, it is a balance that leaves no room for error. Outside, however, laughter is off-kilter, melancholy has an unintended phase, and surprise floats as an unknown variable. The mouth only distorts for a moment, and the surrounding observers begin to wander in search of meaning. The expressions outside are an indecipherable string of random numbers, an uncontrollable emotional singularity, a meaningless smile, just a smile. As if it were the only code to minimize the fluctuation of order. Between the cities, the faces are in flux, burnt by the lights of the street lamps, embedded in the rhythm of the sidewalk, dismantled by the time of the intersection. It does not follow the orbit of orderly protocol. The official smile is tied to silence in a standardized ambiguity. A cheek touched by the whim of the wind deviates from its scheduled harmony and carves a fault line in the angle of the brow. Unscheduled wrinkles, momentary distortions, they are signs of non-negotiable heresy. Facial expressions become unanalyzable noise. The surveillance camera follows only those representations whose meanings can be integrated. But the minute tremor at the corner of an eye, the unmeasured temperature in a cheek, they have a language that the system cannot translate. The city seeks patterns. The moment the edges of a smile crumple slightly and the gaze wanders to an undefined point, there it is, the voice of protocol. An unintentional expression, a break in the norm, disturbs the logic of the world. That is why we sometimes gaze at our own faces reflected in the windows of back alleys. There is an undefined emotion there that is not for anyone. That expression, born outside of formality, is not just an error, but a sign of undefined freedom. In the city of masks, facial expressions are controlled. Smiles must not exceed the prescribed angle, tears must dry at a uniform rate, and the hidden impulse inscribed in the rulebook is revealed. The little swell of heresy that lurks in the wavering of the eye. Out in the open, the expression becomes a violation. While obeying the go-ahead that the green of the traffic light tells you, the red of your heart tells you to stop. In the middle of the intersection, the mask peels away for a moment. Passing eyes unexpectedly betray order. A crowd flows through the veins of the city, its faces at the end of uniform arithmetic. Facelessness is a virtue built into the code. The emotions that swell behind the masks are forced into silence like compressed files. In the blink of an eye, substandard information is decompressed. Lips quiver slightly and an unconscious smile bugs out. Is there an error there? No. It is a freedom called deviance. The moment one deviates from standardized behavior, one reverts to primitive programming. Melancholy, delight, astonishment, bewilderment. They are not rogue codes, but unexplored algorithms. The waveform of emotion running across the face is a sign of heresy that betrays the norms of the inorganic world. The faces standing on street corners are the ghosts of many unmasked faces. Smiles are protocols, silences are conventions, and courtesies are coded codes. Inside this framework, one walks in accordance with a silent contract. But only in a moment, when the color of the sky deviates from its definition, when the wind whispers in a different language, or when the wet pavement becomes a disorderly mirror and the gaze questions its own contours, does the expression outside become heresy? If you nod at the shower that caresses your cheek, it is a response that deviates from the norm. If your fingertips try to measure the temperature of the sun, it is a breakdown of order. Lips smiling at something invisible spill outside the coordinates. Still, the expression that transcends the code takes on momentary life, and uncontrollable emotion spills out. In that moment, one quietly realizes that self is an error of light flickering on the edge of protocol. That is why we walk out today. Not to deceive the protocol, but to write I outside the protocol.